Part 3, An Inaccuracy or Discovery. Produced by Black Bottom James at BKK. These, Jesus is real. Time and distance were never factors influencing what we thought we had found in each other again and again. Yet, I know the thoughts of the readers. This is just another story of a married man falling for a married woman. Well, true, but there were other incidents encompassing a cause and effect relationship, although many things remained undisclosed and unaware for me. This was a very evolving and embryonic progression of affairs, even during the periods of those horrid days of disruption and disturbances. The satanic cult did permeate her with lies and conjecture, keeping her off balance and confused of the truth. She was an easy target for an attack group, as she was raised in a home without a history of Christianity. There were no teaching of the Bible or practices of the Christian faith being shown for worship at any time. One night, right before bed, she disclosed not knowing the Lord's Prayer. I was stunned. I had never met anyone not knowing and remembering by reciting the Lord's Prayer. She had not memorized this iconic symbol of the Christian faith. I had never met anyone not being able to recite this cornerstone of family supplication. Regrettably, when the enemy arrived at her door, there was barely any resistance presenting a defiance. They did not know how or who to respond with. Maybe they were unaware these were the forces of darkness and they were opening a door of distress and grief. But maybe it was an invitation offered. There are so many questions leading to more questions on someone, somewhere and somehow. Since I was the featured object of concern, Jesus was there as my protector throughout this ordeal, as I did not know I was becoming a victim of oppression, harassment, and repression. Even though I lost my home and sold all my possessions, including a car, barely had enough food and had no employment opportunities, besides part-time employment at Comcast, which I had to drive from my home to Northeast Georgia for over an hour, without automobile insurance and auto registration, with expired plates. Those were fun days. I still don't know why Jesus allowed these things to continue with the loss of everything, but it happened. I was in a sad state of affairs, without end. My insurance company had just finalized my claim on a robbery of my home after a couple of years. The money was used in repurchasing the items that were stolen. However, most of these items were in a pawn shop and jewelry exchange. All items and valuables were sold for pennies on the dollar. I was the prey, being hunted by the predator. I was the target for the annihilation, and they succeed. Rhoda's life progressed on moving to Denver with her daughter and finding employment in Denver, living in an upscale home assisting an elderly woman. Unfortunately, there were so many unanswered questions left outstanding. I do remember one that always puzzled me. Rhoda always mentioned tickets I supposedly purchased for some woman's flight to LAX and where we met at some location for some period of time. She was insistent on the occurrence of this secret liaison. I was constantly harassed, hounded of this incident, yet it never occurred. This was a tactic used by the cult in creating stories never existing and implanting these lies and plundering me on every occasion there was an argument. More tension for her self-inaugurated dismissal. Also, when I was in the green zone, the location of Saddam's presidential palace, leaving was a self-imposed death wish, without escort. The closed place offering any items for shopping was a local open-air market. I purchased many things here, including some dresses. I saw some nice dresses for Rhoda, as there were no other goods to purchase. She accused me of buying for someone else. She burned all these dresses. These were the disingenuous precepts keeping her inconsistent and capricious on many issues instilled by this satanic cult and misleading and falsifying my actions. Not knowing the specific issues, I was always trying to indoctrinate her with stories of the Bible and how they pertain to our life together. Yet, I think it seemed to bring on discord and disruptions. Maybe the cult only used her in their quest for exploitation, maneuvering and alteration for controlling my desires and aspirations. It is hard to believe this was all done to intimidate or coercing my life. I was only a Christian, yet somehow it was enough irritation keeping them after me. Well, maybe it was Rhoda and her daughter who were the targets. The first time this relationship began with Rhoda, I was always telling her about Jesus. As I knew this relationship was wrong, I would emphasize to her regarding Jesus' teachings, maybe thinking it would be a reminder for her to end this, which was always on my mind. Just maybe, they had chosen Rhoda and her daughter as members of this cult, and I was in the way blocking their pursuit and this relationship. Well, there was another part playing its role in this evocative, persistent and disturbing relationship, in my marriage having definite implications and repercussions of continuing this marriage. I was not aware, yet, it was a clandestine and suppressed factor overshadowing this entire experience, which was reviewed and examined in another video called The Learning Experience. This was a never-ending battle portraying good against evil. Unfortunately, not knowing your specific enemy was another unknown influence. In 2014, I was offered a position in Japan. Subsequently, I insisted she move back to California. She was hesitant but finally accepted and moved out. After 2014, we talk about getting back together, but after her affiliation with this satanic occult, I was too afraid. Her involvement in this cult was unknown to me. I didn't know whether to believe and trust the words of her mouth. I was so much in love with her for so many years, but now so afraid in keeping her thoughts fresh in my mind for fear of this satanic cult. Sometimes all the love needed is not quite available or enough in placement over the requirements needed in bringing you back to the one of your dreams. Music is so powerful. It can influence, stimulate, and inspire it when we seldom expect. It exposes all the realities of your being to yourself, bringing to the surface for examination and assessment. Memories hidden or refusing to allow to the resurface, fearing the unknown. This is the primary reason a reconnection has not been established, is fear of the unknown. If I could determine when this cult gained control over her actions, I could determine the authenticity of her comments, combined with my own memories and accounts of the actions in question. Since I heard this song, Wrapped, today, the memories of those days of long ago were placed in a vault not to be opened, maybe, if we ever meet again. Erasing an entire portion of your life is very disturbing and troubling, especially when the memories of living under these circumstances. I wish I knew the beginning of these days of agony and anguish. It would help in understand her actions and delays of the time she was under the influence of darkness and obscurity. The experiences of encountering those times of ignorance is a mystery, as I never endured any known period of interactions directly with these diabolical forces of evil. I was innocent and unknowing regarding the application, purpose, and the relevance of all the nuances and subtleties of the engagement and my involvement. I was a protuberance and enclave in this dominion of death.